No, I want to keep the amount of video down on the feed to help keep the meeting running smoothly and not get too glitchy. So
if you present an exhibit, will it show then?
yes, it will.
Okay.
All right, there's 20 participants listed. Are we ready?
Yep, we are all set. In 3, 2, 1, go ahead, Jenny.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Virginia Harger, Chairperson of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today's Wednesday, March 9th, and the regular meeting of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission is called to order. We are conducting it entirely via Zoom. The protocol for this afternoon's meeting was previously reviewed by Corporation Counsel, who indicated to me it's compliant with the executive orders issued by the governor and fair for those attending in person or watching from a remote location. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'll start off the roll call, and please verbally indicate you're present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Motto.
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki.
Aye.
Commissioner Radomski. Myself, Commissioner Harger. Alternate Commissioner Laskos.
Aye.
And for the record on the commission side, alternate Commissioner Usel indicated to me this morning he would not be able to participate in this afternoon's meeting. Next on the staff side, Mr. Rossetti.
Here.
Mr. O'Neill.
Present.
Mr. Nappy.
He's here.
Okay. Mr. Panico.
Here.
Miss Vernassos. Stephanie, are available?
Oh, here she is. She's just coming on.
Okay, and Josh, you answered for Mr. Nappy, but I need Mr. Nappy to identify himself.
So you're here.
Okay. Thank you.
Here, Madam Chairman.
That's the voice we've all come to love. Okay, and Sarah Vanassos?
She's
Just
on mute.
give her 1 second. Yep.
Sure.
I'm here.
There you are.
Okay.
Okay, and we did not need Stephanie at today's meeting. All right, points before continuing with this afternoon's agenda. This is the commission's 30th meeting being done via live streaming process. Mr. Rossetti will act as the Zoom meeting host. Commissioners will be able to make comments throughout the meeting. Please wait until the chair recognizes you to speak to make sure we're not all speaking over each other and to make sure our recording secretary and stenographer is clear as to who is speaking. So we will begin with agenda item 4, applications for certificate of zoning compliance. And just a reminder to everyone that all the supporting documents were posted on the city's website. First is application 4561, Janet Vizzo, 66 Kathleen Road for an in-law unit. This application was originally presented at our February 17th meeting, and due to concerns that the proposed addition would not meet our zoning regulations, it was tabled by the commission to allow the applicant to address that issue. So since that time, the applicant has submitted a revised layout showing a door will be installed between a bedroom in the existing house and the master bedroom to be constructed as part of the addition over the garage, which should satisfy commission regulations requiring a common doorway between the living areas of the existing proposed unit. So Mr. O'Neill, is there any other compliance matter that this applicant needed to address besides that common doorway?
No, that was the main issue from the previous meeting. So the doorways going in between the master bedroom and the existing bedroom on the second floor. The affidavit and all the other paperwork is in order.
Perfect. And Mr. Panico, do you have any comments or concerns about this revised
No,
layout?
I'm satisfied with the proposed connection.
Okay. Does any commissioner have any comments, questions, or concerns for the applicant or
No.
staff?
No.
Okay. So does any commissioner wish to make a motion regarding application 4561?
I'll make a motion, it's approved.
Okay, Commissioner Kelly, you're making a motion to approve application 4561. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, Jimmy, go ahead.
Okay, Commissioner Tiki is seconding. So on the motion to approve application 4561 made by Commissioner Kelly and seconded by Commissioner Tiki, we'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. The motion has passed by a vote of 6-0. Next is application 4759, Pattison Sign Group for Corporate Drive. This application was heard at the February 9th meeting, and due to concerns regarding the signage on the awning, the freestanding sign color, and the entrance door stickers, the commission tabled this application to allow the applicant to address those concerns. And is the applicant present?
I am.
Okay, and your name, please?
My name is Darcy Roy.
Yes, hello, Darcy. So
Hi.
there was updated application for certificate of zoning compliance dated March 1st that was filed, and also a revised layout dated 2/24/21. I noticed on there that the awning is now plain, and the stickers on the door that said smoke-free tobacco and vape-free campus, and also the no gun and whatever else is crossed out and then was removed. And the freestanding sign in the front had a color change. Is there anything else?
Nope, those are the changes that you requested and we made.
Okay, so everybody sees the revised layout up there on the screen. Does any commissioner have any questions of the applicant?
No. I don't.
Okay. So no comments, questions, or concerns from staff? Mr. O'Neill, Mr. Rozzetti, Mr. Panico?
No questions.
No
Okay,
comments.
okay. All right, so is there any commissioner that wishes to make a motion regarding application 4759?
I'll move to approve application 4769, 4759, sorry.
Okay, there's a motion to approve application 4759 from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Kelly. So on the motion to approve application 4759 made by Commissioner Parkins and seconded by Commissioner Kelly, do a roll call. Commissioner Motto?
I'm abstaining because this is my employer.
Okay, that's fine. And Commissioner Tiki?
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The motion has passed by a vote of 5-0-1.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Darcy. Have a good day.
You too.
Oops. Okay. Okay, next agenda item is old business, and first item is application 2012 Good Guys Development LLC at Petromont Lane for a planned development district in R3 zone on 2.1 acres for initial development plan approval of an apartment building with 10% affordable housing units and on-site parking. Just as a recollection, this item was on the agenda where we had a public hearing on July 29th. We had a continuation on August 26th, and on September 16th, it was also on the agenda where we received additional information, and the public hearing closed on September 16th. We discussed it at our October 28th meeting, And there was a consensus from the commission for staff to continue discussions with the applicant regarding our concerns about Petromont Lane. On the city's website, there's a plan and profile for Petromont Lane, including an island that would be at the junction of Petromont Lane, Quorum Road, and Constitution Boulevard South. This application was on the February 9th agenda, and the commission requested more detailed information about the reduction in units. As shown on the city's website, the applicant, excuse me, submitted a chart showing a comparison of changes made to the size of the original building footprint, the number of overall units, the number of each type of unit, the number of parking spaces, and the number of affordable units to be included. The applicant also submitted an updated site plan, 3-floor layouts and elevations for all sides of the building. Mr. Rossetti noted at the February 9th meeting that the city has agreed to take on some responsibility to help renovate the connection with Quorum Road and Constitution Boulevard. Does the applicant want to make any comments, further comments at this time, or?
No, I
No,
don't
we
think,
can't.
I don't think he should.
I'm sorry, I take that back. I'm doing my template here, so. Okay, so that's what we have going on. What's the consensus of the commission then on this particular application?
Madam Chairman?
Go right ahead, Mr. Panico.
I believe staff invited the architect's the applicant's architect to explain a little bit more about the exterior materials, et cetera. So that might be in order, but no direct communication with the applicant.
Okay, so who could share that? Does staff have some comments about that?
Yes, we do. So we've been discussing with the applicant, and in light of, I'm sure most of you are aware of kind of current public events in Hartford and Desegregate Connecticut, and kind of our movement to generate some affordable housing and our plans coming up. The applicant has agreed to 12% of these units to be deed restricted as affordable, which would be at the allocation of, if we agreed to 47 units total, with 6 of them being affordable. And that would be staff's recommendation, and that does not change the footprint or dimensions of the building, as previously noted on the plans, which I'll show you in a minute. The difference is in the office area, which was on one of the floors, would now be created into studio apartments. So I can bring those up for you in 1 second.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Go right ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
That's different. Than what's on the website. Am I correct?
Yes, it is. This is new information from staff, and I think Mr. Rossetti could go into.
Well, that's. I took the other one off yesterday. Is this new again?
Are you referring
Because
to?
I had 46 units and 5 affordable.
Right.
Correct. So
Yeah.
Now there's 47, right?
correct.
this-
So the
Mr.
applicant
Rossetti can
agreed
go ahead.
to go from 46 total units with 5 of them affordable. He has now agreed to do 47 with 6 affordable, which is a higher percentage of affordable units. in this
Correct. Now,
building space.
do we know what floor he's going to do the studio in, or do we care?
I do not, but I don't know if the commission, I mean, that's up to you to determine if you care or not.
Looking at the layouts, I don't see any studios on the first floor. I do see.
Yeah, I do. Well, the first floor, no. Second floor, yes.
Yeah, there's at least 3 on the second
Well, I
floor.
mean, with the meeting room, he's gonna have to add a kitchen and everything. Am I correct for the studios?
So I think it would be in, for example, on the 3rd and 4th floor, it would be one of these rooms here that I'm circling on the screen.
Right, the business office.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to add in there. He's gonna take away the meeting room and put in something else.
Correct.
A studio.
Either a
Well, the
studio
drawings
or.
right now illustrate 46, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
you're right.
So in
Correct.
order to get the 47th unit, he'll probably create it in that first floor space.
Either the third, fourth, or yeah, one of them.
Okay, now I do have a question on that, on affordable housing. I thought that with affordable housing, you couldn't designate what apartment is going to be affordable housing. Am I correct?
That's correct. So he's not, he
Yeah,
just,
he is. On the drawings, he is. On the studios, on the drawings taken off from the website, the studio on,
that's for illustrative purposes, Kelly, so that we can see, which, we can point and say, okay, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can tally them up. It's not to earmark those specific units as affordable.
okay, all right, that's fine. Thank
That
you.
was the intent.
Okay.
Alex,
yeah.
does that mean he would have to have, if somebody wanted a one-bedroom unit as affordable, he would have to provide it?
No, I don't remember the exact breakdown of which units would be deed restricted as affordable. But that's something we can work out with the applicant as to if he would just be restricting the one bedrooms or studios or a
I
combination.
guess that
of
was
the
my
two.
question inversely. Can the applicant say, my 6 affordable units are studio units? Period.
Yes, he can.
Okay.
Can he? I'm not so sure about that.
Me
Doesn't
neither.
sound right.
I believe you can because the rents are totally different based off of,
If
the
he
type
has
of
no
unit.
studios, if he has no studios available and someone but only has 5 affordables rented out and all he has is a 1-bedroom, he has to allow for that 1-bedroom to be rented out as affordable. So I don't know that he can dictate which,
So
that
I
only
believe,
That's what I was getting at.
So, hang on,
You're
one
saying,
second.
Ruth, if his quota is 6 units and he has all of his studios rented out and still has an entitlement to one more affordable, he would have to make that available as a 1-bedroom unit.
Well,
I believe that's the case.
if they were all rented out, if the studios were all rented out as full price, not affordable, then he would have to take the one bedrooms or whatever he had left as affordable units.
That's
So-
the way I would, that's the way I would interpret it
Me too.
So the applicant has to, of those 9 studios, if this is hypothetical. If he deed restricts 6 of those as affordable, of the 9 or 10 of the studios available, 6 of them have to be on the land record, 6 of them have to be deed restricted for 40 years. Now, as people come in to fill up those spaces, he has to make sure that 6 of those are reserved for affordable tenants. Let's say, so then, let's assume that all 6 are filled up with tenants underneath the affordable bracket.
Okay.
One of them gets a pay raise and is now above the affordable threshold.
Right.
The next, that stays it is. You don't kick someone out for getting a pay raise or a bonus. The way it works from my education so far is that the next available studio unit that comes online is then has to be rented out as an affordable unit.
Okay, so he can dictate the type of unit that's affordable.
Correct.
Okay.
But they cycle. So, that's why I'm saying, even though he may illustrate on the plans, 6 affordable units, any of the studios could be
And affordable.
Correct,
affordable
right.
unit.
I understand that.
Can I just say something about?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Alex, I know you're more into the technicalities of this than I am for sure, but as I understood it, at least in the spirit of how this is supposed to work, the affordable units are not supposed to be distinguishable from any units that are there. And so I think it certainly doesn't meet the spirit of the intention here to have only studio apartments designated as affordable. It just doesn't seem.
I would think that's right.
I agree.
Okay,
If this
Bill.
project only had 6 studio units, then he would be saying that all 6 units, all 6 studios are limited to affordable people.
Well, then
And
he's
if we
segregating.
get occupied that way initially, and then a year down the road, half of those people have gotten raises, so they no longer qualify as affordable. Does that mean then all you're getting out of the project is 3 affordable units?
so I think one thing we could certainly discuss with the applicant is maybe his 3 studios that are
I mean,
restricted and 3 1-bedrooms.
We need
I
to
would be
sure that
agreeable
we
to
have-
that.
That would be a
Clarification.
better, that would be better in my view.
I
I would
agree.
agree. Hmm.
We can
Mhm.
certainly discuss that, absolutely.
Yeah, Alex, you better get a ruling on this from the appropriate parties, because we don't want to do something that is going to come back later on to harm what's going on here. I don't know if he has the ability to specifically say that it's only going to be for studio apartments.
But I think
we
3 and
wanna be
3 would
sure
be
that
a
we're gonna get
fair-
credit from the state.
Would be
Mr. Janico,
equitable.
No, I was just saying, we want to be absolutely sure that we're going to get credit from the state for every unit that we think is
Oh,
affordable.
yeah, for sure. Commissioner Parkins, what were you saying?
I think it's equitable to do 3 and 3, then there would be no question.
Well, yeah, there would, because 3 and 3, 3 and 3 of what? I mean, you do have also 1 bedroom plus an
Oh.
office.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I thought it was wherever,
So, you know, you
wanted to
have
go.
3 separate types of apartments.
yeah. I thought it was wherever they wanted to go, they could.
So
And
did I.
that's their.
Next,
their rent
next
would be-
available, right?
Yeah, whatever's
Yeah.
available. And then if they rise above that threshold for affordable housing, then the next time is something is available and somebody qualifies for affordable housing, they go in there. So the thing that Commissioner Motto was talking about is that you shouldn't just be able to distinguish one from another, is that the finishes have to be the same. You can't put Formica countertops in ones that are for the affordable.
Oh, no,
And
they have to be all the same.
Yeah. granite
Right,
and
we
others.
we understand that, but
Yeah.
I think beyond that,
Mhm.
I do too.
having them all in studio apartments, and it
Yeah.
just doesn't seem
No.
right.
You're kind of
Absolutely.
segregating them
Yep.
Yeah.
to a certain type.
All right, so can we direct staff to check that out
Absolutely.
and report back to us? So,
So we are more than willing to work that out, but this application is kind of getting near the end of its timeline. We've just about extended everything we can, so I'd like to ask if the commission would consider taking some
action on a contingent?
Not an
Or-
action, a
No, we
consent.
can't do an action, but
Consensus.
what's the consensus? That's what I'm talking about.
I have no problem with that. I mean, you know, it has, he agrees to affordable housing, so it just has to be spelled out what it is. I mean, I have no problem approving it as is.
But what I'm asking is, does the rest of the commission have any problems with having staff come up with a favorable resolution as long as our concerns about affordable housing are addressed in the resolution, so that we all.
Right.
I think what you said, Jenny, about the first, like all of the apartments, and what Charlie said too, that all of the apartments should have a rate attached to them that would be affordable,
Mhm.
and that anybody qualifying could go into any of the apartments
Correct.
if they're available.
Yep.
I think that's the simplest.
Mhm.
I would agree with Commissioner Matto, and I'd be fine with moving forward with staff
Mhm.
working that out.
Okay,
Well, we
go
would
ahead.
have to be careful though, because if somebody with, say, one child wants to move into a, you know, a larger unit rather than a studio, they
Mhm.
should be able to do that.
Yeah, that's
I
what we
think
want to make
that's what I'm
sure.
saying.
If there's a
Yeah,
studio
right.
available, but they want something bigger, they should be able to have the choice to get something bigger and not be delegated just having a studio.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Well, we want to make sure that everybody has equal access to everything.
Right.
I will do our due diligence to see what section 8 allows for and make sure whatever the commission acts on is appropriate and fair for both us and for the applicant. I'll certainly look
Okay.
into that.
All right,
Is this
and then,
section 8?
You
I
know,
didn't think,
we're-
This isn't
we're at-
section
we're at
8,
this
is it?
isn't
no,
section
no,
8.
no.
we're
No,
at
but
the page where
section
there's-
8 governs the,
Affordable.
Affordable
Correct.
housing.
Oh,
there's
And that
hundreds and
part-
hundreds of pages, so.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
some section in there. All right, so Alex, you're gonna verify those concerns, but in the meantime, staff can go ahead and develop a favorable resolution.
Okay, so there were just two other things that we wanted to bring up before the commission.
On this
One,
application?
yes,
Okay,
so I will go back to the plans here.
Do you want me to go through those, Alex?
Yeah, oops,
Okay. I know as we always go from preliminary plans to a resolution after a consensus, that's usually when I begin to identify some issues that need to be addressed, and we generally put it into the resolution. However, I wanted to touch on some because I kind of need some direction from the commission at this point in time. It seems to me I have some recollection of one of the commissioners making a comment about the possible desirability to have a sidewalk connection up to River Road. Ruth, I think it might have been you, but I'm not certain.
No, I wanted a dog park.
Is that an issue or not?
I don't think it's an issue, but that's up to the.
Is there safe passage for them to get to that shopping center there?
Well, which shopping center are you referring to, Ruth?
down,
that-
Plaza.
The one right next to it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Santos Plaza.
Yes.
Not
I mean,
much-
there's the shoulder, there's a what will end up as a grass shoulder. And that project, if at the street, at Petremont Lane, from the corner of this property to the beginning of the next improvement is about 10 or 15 feet.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Right.
And then there's pavement from that parking area.
Mhm.
Alex, you're trying to find a picture, huh? Okay, all right, that's right there.
Yeah, it's not a long walk. It's,
It's, his property line is maybe 10 or 15, about 10 feet from the existing stone wall. And then his retaining wall where it begins to occur is about another 10 feet beyond that. But to answer your question, Ruth, I think it's such a short distance that yes, it's relatively safe to be able to walk from the driveway of the proposed development to the driveway of this development, of the existing one.
okay.
We'll know better when the roadway gets built. And if need be, we can work with whoever's constructing the road to make sure that there's a level shoulder area on which a person can walk.
Mhm.
All right, so that being the case, then we'll simply concentrate on this on-site sidewalks, which now loop the building. And in many cases, that sidewalk is adjacent to parking spots. So we need to be sure that that sidewalk is wide enough so that a car that pulls in and overhangs part of the sidewalk doesn't encumber the walk completely. So I'm suggesting that in those instances, the walk has to be a minimum of 6 feet wide. And we'll simply put that as a stipulation in the draft resolution.
Alex, can you point out on the drawing that you have, what area?
So see these
Back
sidewalks
of the building.
Yeah,
coming around here
yep.
and then all the way up and around.
Mhm.
That's what he's referring to.
Okay, but what about this overhang thing, Mr. Tony?
I'm sorry?
What's
That
the
if
overhang?
if a vehicle is pulling into one of these parking spots, you know, like a big truck with a bed,
Yeah,
you know, having it overhang the sidewalk. and
oh,
block-
okay, got it. Yeah.
You know, we dealt with this in many
Yeah.
cases where we have sidewalks directly adjacent to a parking area.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes, Commissioner Kelly?
do we have to put in the charging stations now, or is it going to be an understanding that there will be charging stations?
Mr. Panico and Mr. Rossetti, what's your take on that?
I know that the applicant knows that the commission has expressed interest in charging stations, so I think that can be addressed.
Mhm.
Okay,
I'll mention it in the resolution, so.
Oh, definitely.
okay.
all right.
Did we have any discussion as to how many were going to be provided? Does the
No, but
commission
I
have a
would,
feeling?
I would think there'd be as many as handicap stations, spots to be charging stations.
That's,
Right now, I think there's a half a dozen handicap spaces.
there are.
Well, you know, by 2030, half your manufacturers are going to have all electric vehicles. So, you know,
You
I
don't
think we
want,
should start really thinking about that.
you don't want the charging station to be the handicap space.
No, I don't.
No,
Mhm.
correct.
No,
Okay.
but the quantity of stations should be equal to the amount of handicap stations, handicap.
You want me to say a minimum of 4 to 6?
Yeah, yeah, because you know, they're right next to one another. Usually a charging station takes both sides.
Can
And
we
they
do
should be the
something?
furthest from the building, so the people aren't encouraged to pull in there, even if they're not.
That is correct.
Yeah,
And
you
the
know,
only reason I'm saying that, if we don't do it and there's our electric vehicles, they're gonna start running extension cords from their apartment or something like that. And that, you know, that's a fire hazard.
if, Alex, if you move the plan down, you'll see all along the other way, the back row, there's 6 spaces right there in the back left corner where it says masonry granite block or something.
Actually, I don't know what these stations actually look like, but it would seem to me that,
They're like a big meter.
uh-huh.
If
On a pole.
Is it one per vehicle, or can you
No.
service 2 vehicles from one?
No,
pole?
you could have, there's 2 plugs, so you could have a dual station,
Would it
one on
make-
each side.
Alex, could you put the site plan up?
There you go.
There's a picture of them right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's limited. Oh, those are
It's
pretty
limited to
long.
2, one on each side.
I was thinking if that's the case, or something like that, perhaps at the 2 corner islands in the back, you see those triangular shaped islands where you turn the corner?
Yep,
We could put one in each one of those, and the adjacent spaces would be available for their use.
that would be fine.
And then you'd have 2 of them, which would give you 4. If the commission thinks they want 6, then we'll have to find another couple of locations.
You know, the thing is, it depends, I think, on the style, because if Alex goes back to the visual that he have, these things that he showed, there are some that are very tall, like gas pumps. I think
That's
that
exactly what they
aesthetic-
look like. They have them at the Milford Mall. It's exactly what they look like.
They
And
have
those,
them-
those particular ones that you showed with the 2 pumps, looks like there's 2 different types of connections. So
Yeah, but-
there may be,
So
see,
I
there's a
just-
blue and a green.
I would caution the
Oh, yeah.
commission about trying to dictate where these things can go, because
Mhm,
the voltage and electricity that's required for these is extensive.
mhm.
And I think, you know, the
Well,
applicant-
you're absolutely right.
should
I
have
mean,
some
I was
flexibility
thinking
to-
closer to the building than anything.
Yeah,
correct,
all
but
right.
I think, you know,
But
Let
you know
them
that there
work it
is
out.
there is one in the Big Y parking lot.
I think it's more than one.
No, I'm just saying, I never knew there was until I
What
Saw
what
it
is
the
the
other
length?
day.
What is the charging time?
It depends on
I-
the vehicle and all sorts of different things and how much of a charge you need, but
Yeah, Tony, I really don't know how they operate, but, it's something that we're going to have to really think about in the future.
Yeah,
Mhm,
this is our first bite at this apple.
Correct.
mhm.
My suggestion then, unless we can find
But
some
that-
other
that's up to the-
information to the contrary, is to require one in each of those back two islands that can
Yeah,
serve two
that's-
vehicles each.
That's fine, and I think we should just leave it up to the planners and engineers to find out what they really need.
I would just be cautious about the aesthetics of how it looks. That's all.
yep, absolutely.
So,
Maybe if you just put in the idea of the charging stations and then they'll go from there.
right. Maybe we could, how we want additional parking, but we don't want it paved and they put in the blocks or the grass squares or something. I'm
Right.
just wondering if the electrical components could be positioned somewhere, but the tower isn't attached or something. I don't know. That's beyond my pay grade,
Well,
but
A lot, I
You
guess. it
have to
depends on the
remember-
kind of fixture that they decide works the best for them.
yep,
yeah, but you have to remember, it's going to be all paved, so you don't want to start digging anything up either.
And
No,
this
no,
will-
it
this will
wouldn't.
just be a mandate that there be some and a
Correct.
suggestion as to where it might be. And then we can work with them to come up with what works the best.
That's what I would do.
Okay,
all right, any other concerns?
yeah. The drawings that I was looking at, the specification sheets are not really complete, but I did notice that they had a detail for a bituminous concrete lip curbing. And I think the commission's trend lately has been to avoid the bituminous lip curbing and use the extruded concrete. So
Mhm.
I would plan on stipulating that. Okay?
Okay.
Yep,
The site lighting, they submitted in their very early drawings, a lighting plan. And when I looked at it more carefully, I noticed that the poles for the fixtures are 16 feet tall, and it calls for them to be mounted on a 2-foot pedestal. So in effect, the top of the fixture is 18 feet tall. And the fixture itself on the top of the pole is a very contemporary looking fixture. And I just want to make sure that the commission is okay with them, or we can ask them to submit details about what they propose to do about it. My concern was, is the 18 feet pushing it in height, or is the commission okay with an 18-foot height?
what's the normal height? in these-
Pardon?
What's the normal height in
There
these?
isn't,
Well,
there
it
isn't one.
varies, it depends on the atmosphere you're trying to keep
Yeah.
in the residential community. In a
The-
shopping center, we would go higher. But even in shopping centers, we've been trying to knock them down a little bit.
Well, you may need more fixtures if you do that because I believe in the not the city codes, but the state codes, it's a quarter of a watt a square foot for outside lighting. So whatever that goes into as far as foot candles for the perimeter of the
Well,
area.
they did submit a lighting plan prepared by a lighting professional.
Right, exactly.
And he identified fixture locations, et cetera. And of course, that's predicated upon the height of the pole and the nature of the fixture.
That is correct.
So if
And the wattage of the
lower,
fixture.
if you lower it a little bit, you're probably going to add another pole or two.
Right.
So are we okay with the 18-foot height?
How many are there?
I'm sorry.
How many?
If memory serves me right, there's about 8 of them.
Is there a way for Mr. Rossetti to sort of point out where on the site plan?
You'd have to go to, the only place I know it is, Alex, is on the original submission. I think you're best going the other direction. I think I don't think it's going to be in one.
Yeah, 16,
wait.
page
Lighting,
16.
yeah, keep going.
Keep going.
This. Maybe I can find it. Mine, I'll tell you exactly where it is.
It said page 16 on the table of contents.
Do
Or
you have a
slide
lighting
16.
plan reference there?
Oh, there's no drawing, maybe just text.
No, it would have had a drawing.
Yep, we're coming.
Getting there, little by little.
I'll just say, in relation to the height of the building, I don't think the 18 feet would be out of scale. Is
No,
that
I don't either.
correct? Yeah,
That's a good point.
It'll be lower than the roof of the building, yeah.
yeah.
There it is, isn't it?
Clockwise. No, that's drainage. I think it's on the
Yeah.
previous one.
I think you're close now, Al.
So, Madam Chair, just so you know, Commissioner Wodomski just joined.
Okay. All right, we will, I will seat him after this particular agenda item.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so 1, 2. 3, 4, 5.
How are they marked on the plan?
1, 2, 3. There's got to be one in this area. 4, 5. You know,
Eight, right?
there's one at that driveway down in front. That's 6. And you know, this is going to change with the new layout.
Okay,
So my
All right.
guess is he's going to end up with 7 or 8 of them.
all right. Mr. Panico, you feel that's appropriate coverage for lighting?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is that appropriate coverage for lighting?
Well, it's governed by the amount of foot candles that are generated at the surface of the ground.
Okay,
That's what all those numbers are. Those
Yeah.
are all foot candles.
all right. Staff can work that out with the applicant.
That's
Yeah.
the applicant will work it out. I can't work it out.
That's a
highly
program, that's a lighting program, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
he's gonna have to have somebody
The
re-examine.
electrical
lighting
engineer will work
program.
that one out.
Okay. All right.
That lighting plan was done on the basis of the submission, the original submission. So
Mhm.
whatever the final submission is, it's gonna have to be adjusted to conform to it.
Okay, well, just so that it
Okay,
doesn't
so
fall through the cracks.
I
That's
think
all.
it sounds like we're okay with it, but he'll have to be re-examined.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there
Uh,
any particular development that we recently was a finished building in town, like Mr. Blakeman's on Old Bridgeport Avenue, that would be somewhat close?
Maybe staff can take
Yeah.
a field trip and look around at some of them.
Yeah, okay,
And it really, you can't really compare it to what's used on the shopping centers because that's a different feeling. So you really want to look at residential development.
yeah. And I know in the past, the commission has been concerned, especially when Mr. McGordy was a commissioner, because he was in that business, that the lighting all be directed down and not so that adjacent property owners get disturbed. So,
Well, they got blinders for that. I mean, they have
Yeah.
attachments.
okay. Anything else, Mr. Panico?
Yeah, well, they're very vague with their retaining walls, and I want to see a little bit more about them. They simply talk about concrete block retaining walls, and
Mhm.
that could be interpreted as meaning mafia blocks. And I don't think that's what we've got in mind here. So we'll get more specifics. And then I had a lot of some concerns along that common property line with the Santos property.
Mhm.
They're creating a cut and they need retaining wall there. And right over the line, Santos had to make a cut, so he's got retaining wall there. And I don't know how much vegetation is going to be left. Quite frankly, I don't think they're going to have much of a chance of saving any of that existing vegetation. So I want to make sure that the landscaping plan addresses it.
Mhm.
And again,
Okay.
we'll mention it. One final thing is what's the commission's feelings about the proposed one-way circulation plan on site?
I think nobody will abide by it.
That's my feeling, Rick. That's why I was asking the question.
That's
That's for sure.
the quickest
If
is.
you're gonna go with the one,
Straight line.
if you were gonna stay with the one-way plan, then I would suggest that the parking spaces be realigned so that they're on a diagonal to make it difficult to go the wrong way. But knowing the people, and it's such a short run on those two legs, that I think they're gonna be prone to violate them. So
Well,
why
is there
why don't
adequate
we
space?
just have those lanes increased and have two-way traffic and have them deal with it?
Yeah, there's adequate space to make it 2 lanes.
Well, it's a little tight. It's going to encroach on the area that they got set up for the dog play area out front, that fenced-in area. But other than that,
Oh, yeah.
there's room. It just means widening up the entry lane and widening the exit lane.
Okay. How big is that dog area anyways?
How did we what?
How big is that dog play area anyways?
Well,
Well, I don't know. I don't have a scale drawing. I'm looking at small drawings all the time.
Yeah.
what, going in, Tony, there's an aisle. What is the distance between the edge of the aisle to the sidewalk? Right there.
From the edge of the aisle to the sidewalk?
Yeah, you know,
There is no sidewalk out there, Charlie.
there's a sidewalk around the whole building.
Yeah, but not out where the island is.
No, from the edge of the island to the sidewalk, what's that distance? I can't read it from.
It looks
like-
like, it looks like it says 15 feet, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
No, I was just thinking with the one way, if you made that island with deeper, they couldn't turn the other way. For to go both ways.
Well, they've kind of got it about
I mean,
a
I don't
narrow,
know. I mean, you know, that's
one-way
up to-
traffic pattern. Yeah, I mean, you could, Charlie, you could fatten it up and put some more geometry to it to try to discourage that. But as you saw with the Big Y Shopping Center.
Yeah, I
that's
know,
what They
I
want to
know.
do to violate it.
If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Okay.
And that just annoys people. It aggravates people.
Yeah, you're right.
I think what I will do is indicate that the commission's preference is for two-way circulation and to have the applicant examine the potential impacts of doing that, and then we'll talk about it at a staff level.
Mhm.
Okay,
And if it's totally unworkable, then we'll come back and talk to the commission about it.
fine.
Once you take an action on this thing, once we write a resolution and you take an action on it, presuming it's a favorable one, that's going to take care of putting the zoning in place. That releases the commission from this inability to have dialogue with the applicant. So
Mhm.
once that zoning action has taken place, the commission is free to go one-on-one with the applicant. If he's got a
Okay.
problem with how things lay out, he can bring in a revised site plan, show it to the commission, and show what the problems are.
Okay.
Does that sound doable?
Doable.
That sounds.
Okay, so we will address it. We will address it, but we won't give the solution.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so we all know how we're heading on this particular application 20-12.
I'm sorry, madam.
We all are in agreement where we're heading with application 20-12.
Presuming
I
that.
think so, yeah.
wants us
think
to-
Are we ready to move on to the next agenda item?
Well, do we have a consensus?
Yeah.
Is my direction to write a favorable consensus, to write a favorable resolution?
Yeah, I'll go through the list. Commissioner Kelly,
No, I don't
Aye.
want you,
No, no, no.
I'd rather you didn't take a vote.
All right,
No.
fine. Then we have,
So there's a.
Just shake your head.
Consensus.
Ask if
Raise your
anybody-
hand.
okay. All right. All right, before we move on to the next agenda item, 2106, seat Commissioner Radomski. Commissioner Radomski, could you identify yourself, please? Commissioner Radomski, are you there to participate?
Trying to speak into this. Is it working?
We hear
Yep,
you
it's
now.
working now.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. All right, you're seated for, from this point on. Thank you, Commissioner Laskos. So under new business, first is application 2106, Robert Manger, 21 Dome Drive for site plan approval for a 1,500 square foot, 3-car detached garage. We first have to accept it. So is there a motion to accept application 2106 for review?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Radomski, is this is the application you were going to recuse yourself from, I think?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So you're seated, but you're just going to recuse yourself. All right. So Commissioner Parkins, on the motion to accept for review,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Jan, the chair votes aye, so it's motion to accept is passed by vote of 5-0 and 1 recusal. Okay, so let me get my material on this. Just to let everybody know, if you haven't already taken the time to do so, in our zoning regs, and if you look on the application for site plan modification, site plan approval that the applicant had submitted dated February 17th, 2021, he cited that the particular use for which the site plan approval is requested is under Schedule A, line 24, subsection 12. And section 24.12 of our zoning regs say permanent accessory structures in residential districts state the requirements for a detached garage, and a permitted accessory building may include heating facilities, but not kitchens or bathrooms unless it was a permitted farm or had other agricultural uses. If the structure exceeds the limitations of 24.12, it may be permitted by the commission as long as it conforms to the setbacks for a principal structure, and it's subject to the submission and approval of a site plan in accordance with additional standards and conditions set forth in section 31. That section is site plans. Section 24.12.1 goes on to say that detached private garages shall not exceed 1 story or area in excess of 750 square feet. If there part of the some of the material that was available for us to review on the city's website had to do with what the building looked like and the elevations of all sides and also the dimensions. And this is a 1,500 square foot building. So while at first glance, it looks like it doesn't conform to our zoning regs, we can approve this according to the language that I just read. So is the applicant present? Like to make any comments to the commission?
Yes, I'm present. Good
Okay, and
afternoon.
just identify yourself, sir, for the record.
This is Robert Manger.
Okay, and what would you like to tell us about your application?
I would only like to tell you that I need the space. I've got multiple vehicles that have been in my family and also 4 drivers in our household. Rather than have those out undercover or someplace unsightly, it seems like it makes sense to build a garage and protect those vehicles.
Mhm.
So in accordance with 2412 regarding the site plan submittal, I'd like you to consider my application.
Okay,
I have given pretty detailed description and do plan on building in accordance with the neighborhood and the principal structure on the site.
okay. I note that there was a rear abutter that submitted a email that supported your request to erect the structure. One of the elevations does show a dormer out the back, which staff said that you plan to use just as storage.
That is correct.
And I just want to have staff confirm to make sure that the lot coverage has not been exceeded.
Madam Chairman, I think he should observe the 1,200 square foot maximum that had been set for buildings such as barns, et cetera, rather than have an overpowering structure as proposed. I think that limitation, and also if the applicant is able to, since he owns the vacant lot next door, orient the building in the back, turn it 90 degrees so that the overhead doors face his lot rather than face the street. If that's doable,
Okay,
I think it would be a little bit more consistent with the overall development.
the only thing is I see that the dormer, you can see the side of the dormer. I don't know which is the least.
I believe Josh had some discussions with the applicant about that dormer.
Mhm. I have no problem with the a dormer being there. It's just by turning the building, is that going to be more?
Well, understand you'll be shrinking the length of the building also. Instead of being 30 by 50, it would probably end up being 30 by 40.
So you're asking the applicant to reduce the overall size?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we don't allow any accessory buildings in a residential zone, even for a farm, we allow a barn, but the barn can't be more than 1,200 square feet. So how do we not apply that same limitation to this building?
I would think it would have to go to Board of Appeals, would it not? If it's going to- Yeah, if it's going to exceed the
Well, if it went
zoning
to the Board of
requirement.
Appeals, he's theoretically got to show a hardship
Right, so,
that's unique to the property.
yeah.
If
we-
you really want
is
to,
it
if you want to
gonna
have
apply?
draw a hard line, zoning board of appeals would have a difficult time, I think, granting a favorable action on it.
Understood, but it's still, that would be the way to go, wouldn't it?
But Tony and commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So I think the whole point of that section 2412 is to not go to ZBA. Because any structure exceeding those limitations can be approved through a site plan process, which this is. So I think that, precludes it from getting a variance. It's kind of up to the commission whether they want or how much they want to permit the structure to exceed those limitations of 750 square feet or 1 story.
Right. Yeah. I don't see it necessary for us to limit it to just 1,200 square feet. I think we have to consider the property. This is in this particular case, it's a huge lot. It's at the end of a dead end. I don't see it imposing on some other structure.
The question about lot coverage, it does conform with the 15%,
Okay.
even with the 1,500 square feet.
All right, thank you, Mr. O'Neill. That's good to know. So how do the rest of the commission feel?
Does that 1,500 square feet include the dormer area?
That's just the foundation floor area.
That's the
So-
The overall footprint.
I mean, that really is equivalent to a house. And you don't
Yeah.
want to create the impression of 2 houses on the same lot. We don't allow that.
Or a garage with an apartment on top of it?
I mean,
So if this-
typically we try to hold these accessory buildings down around 750 square feet. So.
Yeah. To get it down to
we do
1,200.
Recognize that you could have a barn that was as big as 1,200 square feet.
So to get it down to 1,200 square feet, the dimensions would have to be what?
Instead of 50 feet long, it would be 40 feet long.
Okay, and
I assume he would probably want the depth to have it workable for his intended purpose.
yeah, so the width instead of 50 would be 40. Is that doable with the 5 foot 9 inch space between each of the garage doors?
I think it would be okay with you. If that's what the plan would be, then I would probably move the garage doors closer together and then just have an open end on one side. So say move them 2 feet apart type of thing.
Mr. Mango, could you explain that? What do you mean open on one end?
So if you look the right-hand side of the building,
Yep.
so right now, essentially, there's 5 feet, then a garage door, then 5 feet, then a garage door, then
Mhm.
5 feet, then 5 feet. I would probably move the garage doors closer together, and then that would probably give us a remaining 8 feet on the right-hand side of just wall, if you
Yeah.
will. And I would do it that way. And I might consider, with your acceptance, maybe 28 by 42. To still get down to your 1,200 square feet, but just go maybe a little less deep. And I'm still waiting to consult the contractors to try to optimize that size, that 4 foot length of sheets of plywood, et cetera. So rather than be splitting plywood in half, try to, optimize that material usage.
Mhm.
So 28 by 42 allows that sort of flexibility in some direction, or 28 by 40 even.
Okay. So would it be best at this time and better for you that we just table this until you have more information that staff can?
I think if the commission is satisfied, they can take an action.
Okay. How does the commission feel?
Staff can work out the remaining issues.
Mhm. How does staff want to go with this?
I'm okay.
I would,
Okay, Commissioner Matto, I'll start with you.
yeah, I would, I'm relying on Mr. Panico's advice in terms of the size. I would agree with that
Okay,
recommendation.
and Commissioner Perkins, were you speaking up?
No,
Okay, Commissioner Kelly?
No, I'm fine with it.
All right, because there were a couple voices all at once. Commissioner Radomski? Okay,
I recused, remember?
yep, that's right. I'm sorry. Commissioner Tiki?
So I'm understanding to the need of the resident, but agree with Commissioner Matto and defer to Tony and staff to see what's best for this.
Okay,
All right.
so,
Madam Chair, it seems like the commission would like the applicant to keep the square footage under 1,200 square feet, whether that's 30 by 40 or 28 by 42. I think we can work that out. We're just talking about 2 feet on either end of the building.
okay,
So we can certainly address the issues of the commission, and I think the applicant is flexible enough that we can work it out.
okay. So is there anyone that would like to make a motion on this application 2106 with limiting the square footage to 1,200 square feet of the foundation area?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Commissioner Kelly's made that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Matto has made a second. So Commissioner Kelly, just clarify that's a motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay, so on the motion to approve from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Matto, with keeping the square footage under 1,200 square feet, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins?
aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki?
Aye.
Commissioner Matto?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. So the motion is passed by a vote of 5-0 with 1 abstention on this one. Okay, all right, very good.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
You're
you
welcome.
hearing me today.
There you are.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is application 2104 Woodside Plaza LLC. Woodside Plaza PAC LLC at 737 Bridgeport Avenue for a site plan modification of application 97-13 for demolition and development of 14,784 square feet of retail and office area with on-site parking. First thing we need to do is accept this for review. Is there anyone that would like to make a motion to accept this for review?
I'll make the motion.
Commissioner Amato, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Commissioner Parkins seconding. Roll call, Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Forgot to unmute. Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Wodomski,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion to accept for reviews passed 6-0. Okay, is there someone representing the applicant present?
So if there's any attendees, okay, thank you. Someone just raised their hand. Damon, okay.
Okay, is this
Just give
on just by
just-
phone?
Yep, just give them 1 second. Hang on.
Sure.
I didn't recognize the name. Damon, you should be able to speak.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you fine. Identify yourself for the record, please.
Hi, Damon Anastasian.
And your,
Perry's here, Perry Petas, and John Ruffalo, the architect.
okay, and identify your role in this, please, gentlemen, besides Mr. Ruffalo, who's the architect.
Myself and Perry, we are owners.
Okay. All right, so what would you like to tell us about this? Everyone should have gone on the website to see the site plans and the layout. So what do you want to share with us?
The proposal is to demolition of the existing two-story building and
Okay, just for the record, this is Mr. Ruffalo speaking. And Mr. Ruffalo, can you get a little closer to the mic on the computer? There you go.
Okay. Yeah, the present layout is the restaurant, two-story building and two one-story buildings. And we're planning to demo the two-story building and the two one-story buildings. And we're leaving the restaurant, and then we're going to be connecting a new two-story building towards the restaurant, which is larger than the previous building, and then designing one-story building, which will have 3 tenants in it.
Okay, what's your progression on this? You're not demoing everything at once.
No. What we're going to be doing is demoing the furthest, if you're facing it from Bridgeport Avenue looking at, we're going to be demoing the one-story building on the right side.
The building way to the right,
To the right.
where the Hair Language, the deli, and the Pepe Realty is. That's going to be like.
Okay.
And once we build that, we move in, we transfer people from one building into that building, and then we take down the other one-story and two-story building. Through there.
Okay. If you look very carefully, you could see what the original footprint is of the existing buildings and how the new buildings would appear afterwards.
And we're still leaving the opening between the new buildings to get to Dunkin' Donuts. Similar circulation as it is.
Okay, that opening is for,
Get to the rear. of the-
Driveway.
yeah, it's a traffic opening, not like it is now where between this middle building and the longer building, it's like a walkthrough.
No, it's traffic access.
Now, if you look at the Google map,
Yeah, the drive-through is going to stay the same. It's just
Right.
going to get a little bit wider. And then the exit at the end of the building is going to stay the same. It's going to get a little wider too. But there is an opening between the first building and like where the laundromat is. That's going to be not there anymore. That'll be a building.
that's what I'm referring to, yep.
Yeah, that's what she was bringing up. Yeah.
Okay, and so the building on the right would only be one story. The building on the left connecting to Plaza Diner would be a two-story building.
Correct.
Okay, and are you intending to have professional offices on the second floor of the two-story building?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Offices on the second floor. retail stores on the ground floor.
All right. Any questions from the commissioners as at this point?
Yeah, Commissioner Wodomski.
Go ahead.
There's a parking issue there now. I've gone to the diner quite a number of times. We use the Dunkin' Donuts quite a lot. The line for the Dunkin' Donuts is sometimes almost out to Bridgeport Avenue in the parking lot on the typical evening on a Saturday or Friday night. The parking lot is jam packed and there's no room in there. I don't know how they're going to fit any more space upstairs with the limited parking they have.
What's your parking space count?
Required is 122 cars. We have 123 spaces. You must also remember that some of these businesses, especially the pizza place, doesn't open until 11 or 11:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a segmented opening and closing of the types of businesses that come in there. I can't tell you all the businesses there are, but.
Mr. Ruffalo, your first comment was about 122?
122 required. And
Oh, okay.
we have 123.
Provided. You're providing 123, one more than what's required. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure we understand that. All right.
I don't think it's going to work. There's a problem there now with parking. I've experienced it. I've seen a lot of other people experience that parking lot. I just don't see it happening. I'm sorry.
Do we have any police reports or anything that has that these business owners have been told that they have to do something?
Well, you won't have a police report, Jenny, because it's on private property. So there's no traffic backed out onto Bridgeport Ave like we get over at the Starbucks at this point. But I've seen it backed out, the drive-through backed out. Now, granted, when this COVID thing ends, that line is gonna get a little bit better and a little shorter because people will be going back inside maybe. But my concern is when COVID does end, if that parking lot is jammed now on many occasions, imagine what it's gonna be like when COVID and we go back to normal.
Well, I personally feel that's a broad statement to say that that parking lot is jammed and leading people to believe it's jammed 24/7. I don't believe that's the case. And I think the applicant architect made good points. Wait a minute, Commissioner Amato, you're next.
Yeah.
Has to do about that you do have different times that these businesses are open. So Commissioner Amato, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have parking regulations that are based on square footage and the type of business for the required spaces. So I'd just like to know if staff verified that the parking meets those regulations. And also to say, if we have those regulations and they meet them, I don't think we can object to what's going on there. We probably have to maybe work on those regulations at some point if they're inadequate. But I think if they're meeting the stated requirements that we have, I think we'd have to move on from this topic.
Commissioner Wodomski, when you experienced the congestion and the overcrowding in the front, did you explore available parking in the rear?
There's limited parking in the rear, and I believe most of those spots are taken up by the employees of the diner and the other businesses that are in there. So is it possible to park back there? Yeah, it's possible, but I don't know if there's going to be that many spaces. If you have, to me, you're going to write off that space in the back for any of the employees, and then the front is still going to be jam packed.
There's 34 spaces back there.
I count 40. Yeah.
If that's what the city says.
I'm just stating my observations, having gone there quite a number of times. I enjoy the diner, but like I said, I've seen that parking lot jam packed as it is today, and adding more density to that parking lot, it's limited space as it is. I just think it's going to create an issue. That's just my opinion. I mean, everybody else is entitled to their opinions, obviously.
Yep. Any other commissioner have any comments, questions, or concerns?
Well, I just don't know if it's a matter of opinion or a matter of facts in terms of our regulations and how much parking they're required to have.
Right. Staff want to weigh in on that?
Staff will work with the applicant and make sure that he's applied the parking requirements correctly. And then we'll go from there. We have not even begun to review the site plan yet, but being aware of those issues, we'll keep them in mind.
Okay. All right, so does the commission, how does the commission want to proceed on this particular application?
I'm curious as to why this doesn't require a public hearing.
Well, it's a commercial zone and the proposed
Is
use,
commercial, okay.
it's
all right.
consistent with a conventional zone.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But we
Okay.
still have, we still have the advantage of site plan review and working with the applicant, but it does not require a zoning change.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question, Commissioner. What's the added square foot footprint for the buildings?
Oh, no.
Okay,
Mr. Ruffalo can probably answer that.
Give us 1 second, we're checking.
okay.
About 5,200 square feet more.
Is that including the second floor too?
Yes.
It is. Okay,
Second floor requirements are very mild by comparison. It's the first floor that.
yeah, no. So what would be the add for the first floor only? First floor area?
I'm gonna have to, if you go to another question, I have to add this up.
Okay.
Anybody
It
else
does-
have a
it doesn't
question?
seem like we're adding a lot. That's, we're ripping down buildings and we're putting buildings back up, but
Correct.
it doesn't seem like the footprint really gets a huge.
No.
Yeah, the sheet that's up on the screen right now, the shaded area is the current.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Commissioner Wodomski. I think it's great that we're gonna modernize the plaza there. I think it's antiquated. It's the leftovers from my, oh, good Lord, probably, I'm 52 years old. It's been there since as far back as I can remember. And the only time that they've been modified is when the buildings and some of those buildings have burned and then they just left it open as access ways through to the back or an walkway. I think it's great that they're endeavoring on this project to modernize the property and bring more business to Shelton. But my concern is, like I said, just the parking issue. I don't have a problem with that. I just want to make sure before we go jump into this that we have adequate parking, because we all know in other projects, we've run into parking issues and traffic issues, i.e. down the street. That's my concern. I think it's great we're doing this, and I think we need to really look at this hard and deep and come up with a plan that's going to be good for the plaza owner, number one, and number two, the residents of Shelton. I don't want to end up with a debacle of traffic issues over like we have right now over at Starbucks.
yeah, well, the applicant is the one that comes up with the plan. Mr.
Commissioner-
Ruffalo, do you have that calculation?
Yeah, the ground floor areas from the previous existing to the new is only an additional 1,400 square feet.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so how does the commission want to progress on this particular application?
Well, staff hasn't.
We
Has
asked the
reviewed
commission
it.
to table this item.
Okay, so we're gonna table this, so to allow staff to look at this. Does anybody want to have any further comments before I ask for a motion to table?
Yeah, I see elevations. I don't really get a good sense of how this is going to look. It looks kind of, I don't know, industrial.
Oxy?
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, there's
Perhaps
something
the
better.
applicant can provide us a rendering or a perspective or something to get a better feeling for mass and shape and materials, et cetera.
Right, right.
That would be a wise way to go. And
Yeah, I
then
think-
also a sample of, like we've asked others in the past, a sample of the exterior finishes.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it says thin bricks veneer. Let's be careful with that because we did have another applicant that went ahead with this and it didn't turn out too well.
Yeah, I think it looked sort of warehousey, just from these drawings. I think they did a nice job with the restaurant, the renovation there. So I
Yeah.
would hope to come up with something of a nice, attractive quality for this as well.
Yeah, I would imagine they would want it to blend in. So, okay, any other comments? If not, is there anyone who wants to make a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table it.
Okay,
I'll second it.
and this, who was that in the second?
Commissioner Wodomski.
Okay, thank you. And the motion to table made from Commissioner Kelly for application 2004, seconded by Commissioner Wodomski. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Wodomski?
Aye, we're tabling it to have the staff meet with the applicant to gather all the information we've requested from the artist drawings to all that stuff, correct?
We also need to do an actual review.
Right, you know,
I
that's
just
what I'm
saw
talking
these
about.
drawings the other day, so.
Yep. Staff has to
Okay.
look more at this. All right,
Aye.
so you're an aye. Commissioner Tiki?
I'm,
Commissioner Motto?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion to table is passed by a vote of 6-0. Okay, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing the next edition of this. All right, next, the agenda is application 2105 Meadow Ridge Estates. Romano Brothers Builders LLC, 89 Meadow Street for 6-lot subdivision. We need to first accept it for review. Is there a motion to accept 2105?
I'll make the motion to accept.
Okay, Commissioner Parkins making a motion to accept. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Motto. On a roll call, Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
I'm,
Commissioner Wodomski,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Okay, so is the applicant present?
Yes.
Okay, identify yourself for the record and please share with us what we need to know about this particular proposal.
Mark Romano, 6 Franz Way in Shelton, Connecticut. I believe Jim Swift should be on to present for me. Is he on the Zoom meeting?
Yep, 1 second, he's coming on. I was just gonna ask you if there's anyone else you wanted, Mark. All right, Jim should be coming up.
There we go. That's better.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, Jim Swift, professional engineer. This is a parcel in the R3 zone. It's about 2.4 acres. And we're proposing a residential subdivision in the R3 zone. No amendments or relief from any of the subdivision regulations, with the exception that we're proposing a 26-foot wide road. Just in general, it's on William Street, and it's pretty much directly across the driveway from the police department. So that's where the property is located. And if you were driving around the block there, you really wouldn't see the vacant land. It's pretty much in the back of some of these other parcels.
Yeah, if you look at the storm drainage report, there is a GIS map that shows the streets in the neighborhood, and it shows the boundaries of this particular piece of property in red. So you can get a good sense of where it is.
Yep, that's correct.
Jim, would you mind showing the plans to the commission there?
Say again?
Would you mind sharing your screen to show the commission your plans?
I think Josh needs to put those up, I think.
Well,
Josh, I'm not sure. I don't have Josh there. Let me see if I can do that.
It's all right, I got it.
Are you referring to the ones that are on the website, Mr. Rossetti?
Yes, I was. I just thought
Okay.
the applicant might want to do it, but.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, so you can see that the roadway is going to come in down right across from the police department's driveway. and up the hill. We also have 2 adjacent properties that we're going to provide water and sewer hookup to, as well as to our proposed lots. Of course, they are served by water and sewer.
Would you point those out?
I don't know if the city engineer has sent his comments in yet or no.
No, but at least can you indicate which ones you're referring to?
I'm sorry?
The adjacent property.
What are the 2 lots that you're referring to that you would be doing sewer hookup?
Yeah, if you look to the right, you'll see a corner of a building that's labeled number 91.
Okay,
And you can see it right there. Yeah, that's correct.
yeah,
And almost directly across the proposed street from that is number 85. And that gentleman happens to also be the gentleman that's selling the remainder of the properties. He owns all the other properties. So he's our landowner that signed the subdivision application.
okay. Is this where Market Oil used to park their trucks or operate their business out of?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So they must have used that little driveway that's right between number 95 Meadow or 95 William and 103 Meadow Street with something called Meadow Street Extension.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what else do you want us to tell us? I had a couple questions.
Again, it's fairly straightforward. There's, like I say, we were not asking for any relief from any regulations other than we're proposing. Because the street is so short, we're asking for a 26-foot wide pavement instead of a 30-foot wide pavement. I did go over the drainage with the city engineer. We have submitted this to WPCA and gotten a favorable review from WPCA.
Okay. Mr. Panico, have you had a chance to look at these plans?
No, not really, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
Normally we would accept it for review tonight, listen to what the applicant has to say, and then make a review. I don't see any major issues with it. Just a couple of things I'd like to have clarified for my own sake.
Okay.
It'll obviously be reviewed Conservation Commission, and I'm not sure what the applicant is intending to do with regarding the open space requirement. Is he going to pay fee in lieu of, or what, you know?
Yeah,
I'm not aware of any open space in the area.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, we are requesting fee in lieu of.
Okay.
There is no adjacent open space to this parcel.
Okay. Maybe you can come back to me with something that shows where the R3 starts and stops versus the R1, because when I looked on the assessor cards for the abutters or ones that are in close proximity, as 95 William Street, 97 William Street, 93 William Street, 89 and 91.
Yeah, those are all in the R3 zone. The R1 zone doesn't start until across the street in the high school and the emergency services area.
According to the assessor cards, 95 Meadow, 105, 109, 113, 115, 121, and 127, which go up Meadow Street, are all R1. Meadow Street Extension, the assessor card indicates 85, 87, and 91 is R1. 89 is listed as R3, and that is the structure.
With all due respect, sometimes the assessors don't quite get it right. We really have to rely on what our zoning map says.
Good, that's what I'm asking for. Can please submit a zoning map, because I'm seeing the only R3s listed are the Tenco and Beer Path ones. Even 3 on William Street are indicated as R1. So let's clarify and make sure. I'm sure it is an R3 zone. I just want to make sure. Okay. Any commissioner have any questions?
I was wondering, this is Commissioner Ticky, what is the total area of the development?
2.4 acres.
Okay. And each lot, if you look on the, it's about a third of, a little slightly, one is slightly less than a third, they're around a third of an acre. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the 12, 24, 36.
And that's in line definitely with
It's
what's on Beer
actually
Path.
less than a third.
Okay. And what's, basically, that's what's on Beer Path and Ten Coat and on William Street.
If you go back to the GIS map that was in the drainage report, you can get a sense of the adjoining lots.
You dropped off a sense of the what?
You can get a sense of the size of these lots
Yep.
in relation to the adjoining lots. If you go back to the GIS map from that drainage report, they're fairly similar. Actually, we're actually quite a bit larger than some of the lots. If you look
Josh,
at
could
the
you go back,
numbers.
please?
Yep. Just doing, let me just stop for 1 second.
Yes, there's the zoning map.
Oh, good. Okay, so where are we at on this? There we are. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, a little closer to Meadow Street, actually. We're
Move it up.
between Bear
Oh, yeah,
Path and
sorry. Yeah, over here. Yep. This
Yeah.
piece.
Right there.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay, good. That satisfies that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then let me go back.
Yeah, so you can see that the, if you look at the upper left on 10 Coat Lane, they have the minimum width for the R3, but those lots are fairly deep, so they'll have more land. If you look on Bear Path, those are comparable in size to our R3 lots. And then as you get to some of the lots down in the lower center, those are actually smaller than the R3 zone lots, but for all intents and purposes, comparable.
Mm-hmm. How did the applicant come up with a number of 6 lots?
Basically by once we run the road into the lot, and then we use the minimum lot area, the minimum lot square, and work our way back towards the street. That's how we came up with that. And you'll see that some of our lots, to the upper left corner of this particular screen are larger than the R3 zone, but so be it.
This isn't the kind of application that would require a public hearing. And so unless some of the butters had read our agenda, would they necessarily have known that this has been submitted?
Yeah, according to the zoning regulations, they've been notified. The notification certifications have been submitted via email. Josh should have those.
Okay, good. So they were.
Everyone's been notified within 100 feet, yes.
Okay. Has staff received any comments from any of the abutters?
Negative.
Can you repeat that?
Negative.
Oh, negative. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I would just be a little concerned, you have all these streets were put in the, I think the late 70s and up to the mid 80s, late 80s, that was built out. And, somebody comes in and they purchase a piece of property and their backyard is heavily wooded. And then all of a sudden.
It has a right use though, Jenny.
Yeah. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Zone this way, everybody else around it is subdivided.
I know, but I'm just saying that let's be, I want to be sensitive to the people that are already residents there. And that's why I was asking how about that unit count?
Yeah. Well, again, we've noticed them and we're not asking for any relief from any requirements. So, this is a matter of right subdivision.
Yeah.
Can I just repeat? I just want to say that too. It doesn't seem that there's anything to discuss. If they meet the requirements for the R3 zone and it's zoned as R3 and they meet all the setbacks and the lot sizes and the terrain, there's no excessive pitch on the road and all of those things. And if staff verifies that, which they will, then I think, it's as Jim was just saying, a matter of right. As far as the road width, I live on a 26-foot wide road on Audubon. I think my understanding was that the city prefers these narrow roads when they're short like that because it's easier to plow and less to maintain over time. And it's not a problem.
Yep. No, I agree with you, Commissioner Amato. I just sometimes feel that playing devil's advocate is what you have to do.
Sure, but I say as far as being sensitive to the neighbors, if they have a concern, I think it would be a matter of explaining to them what the facts are here in terms of this kind of process and the application so that they, understand.
Yeah, if you look, just remember, this particular applicant did just erect 3 houses. And even for people that have lived there, that are on Meadow Street, that will have backyards would meet this. And even for people that have lived in the neighborhood for a number of years, every so often you hear, my realtor didn't tell me when I bought this that this property could be developed. And it's kind of thing where, well, it's up to you to do your due diligence.
Well, yeah, kind of like duh.
Yeah, so it's just, I would hate to have us criticized for pushing something through and not being sensitive to the neighborhood. That's all. I know the developer will do a great job with, he doesn't change things when it comes to his construction. So, Commissioner Ticky, what were you going to say?
Yes, I agree with you, but I just want to confirm that I'm hearing that folks within 100 feet of this area were notified of tonight's meeting, and the office has confirmation of that.
Well, just a brief correction. They were notified of that an application had been made that was in concern with 100 feet of their property and that where they could get information, because we didn't know what the meeting date would be.
So the notice does not necessarily have to say anything as to when it would be discussed by the commission?
It did not, no, because we didn't have the information. The letters are supposed to go out within 7 days of submission.
Oh, I see.
And with the confirmation of the meeting date, as the commission knows, things are kind of up in the air a little bit now.
Yeah.
And I did wait, honestly, to confess, I did wait, I think 8 or 9 days, but I didn't feel I could wait any longer. I thought I had to make send the letters out.
Okay.
And to be honest, that gives the neighbors more time to reach out to us, ask about anything, review anything. We didn't receive anything. This material's been up there for almost a week. I would not be concerned about the public. We're waiting to hear back from Conservation, Wetlands, and the Engineering Department. But if there are any other concerns by the commission, it'd be great to bring those up now. But then I think at the next meeting, we could come up with a quick motion and move this application off our agendas.
Sure. Is this a motion or a resolution?
No, this would be something we can take a motion on, assuming there's no other hookups.
It should be pretty straightforward.
Okay, somebody wanted to speak up?
Yeah, Commissioner Parkins, can I just inquire, just curious what the size of the houses are approximately?
We plan on doing about 2,500 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Similar to the ones that you just put up on Meadow Street?
About 100 square feet bigger than those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit bigger.
All right. All right.
Commissioner Domsky.
Go ahead.
I have concerns. The people within 100 feet were notified of what they want to do, but I don't know how much they would follow up on that, because I mean, historically speaking, they would think there's going to be a zone change and there would be a public hearing, etc. I myself would feel comfortable, and this is up to the commission. I myself would feel comfortable if a certified lender went out to the people within the 100 feet that he sent it to originally, stating that, at the next meeting, if you have anything to say, we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting. And if anybody has anything to say, great, they can come out and speak. If not, we can move on at the next meeting.
That's setting a precedent
If you
against our
start-
regulations.
If you start doing
Well,
things like that,
Well,
you're
it was just,
you're
that's,
creating.
I
a
would feel more comfortable
situation.
doing that. If you, it's up to the commission. It's how they want to do that. That was just how I
But
felt.
if you do it this time, Mark, you got to do it every time.
Yep. Yeah,
You're setting a bad precedent.
absolutely.
Well, Tony, we don't follow a lot of precedents that we should be following. So, I mean, what's the difference? Come on.
I'm
be
only,
realistic.
I'm only advising you, you have your regulations and that's what you should go by. If this is something that you think is important, then have it written into the regulations and follow it.
Mhm.
But subdivision is a matter of right. The property owner is entitled to it. If he conforms to zoning and he conforms to all of the necessary engineering concerns, he's entitled to an approval.
That's right.
You know, it isn't a judgment call.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'll take that advice, Tony, and maybe we should start following the regulations better, and we'll move on from here.
We are following the regulations in this case. Okay, so any other?
Chairwoman, yeah, I'm trying to pull up the map, but it's there's a lot to it, so it's taking its time to load. I'm on page 3, but I just wanted to hear the applicant comment on, I'm seeing the way that the houses are laid out. Is there anything that's going to be done with buffer, landscaping, fencing? They're, you know, relatively close together, but at least in the surrounding neighborhood, there's a lot of trees and, you know, growth. So what plants do they have so the houses aren't all exposed
Okay.
to one another?
Mr. Swift?
That is a more individual, when the buyers buy the home, half the time they put up a fence or we put up the fence for them. And it's their choice of landscaping and fence. It's not something we plan.
We have, I thought in the past, requested that there be adequate buffer and landscaping done with upright plants. Am I correct on that, Mr. Panico, or?
Usually it's been where there's another level of approval that's required.
Yeah.
If there's
Yeah.
something that's physically onerous about the property and you want to offset it by certain other improvements, then yes, you could bring it up. But if it's just normal developable land, then as far as fencing goes, everybody's taste in fencing is different.
Oh, I know.
You might put up one thing and somebody buys a property and they decide they don't like it, they got to rip it out, and put another one in. And some people don't like fences, you know.
That's entirely correct. I've had conversations with people exactly on that
I
line.
mean, if there's some short circuiting somewhere, and we'll take a look at it, but if there's some obvious short circuiting, we could certainly request that perhaps the developer consider doing that, just in the interest of being good neighbors. But
Well, you're changing the whole appearance of this particular 2 whatever
well, but,
acres.
you know, anytime you have a house next to empty land, you always got to anticipate at some point in time it's going to get developed by whatever applicable zoning is.
Yeah, but if you think back to Mr. Grasso, he's putting up all those, the 2 streets up off of Nichols Avenue. I'm pretty sure that throughout his presentation, he assured us and included that he was having screening and buffers. So I don't think.
That was a special permit. That was not a matter of right subdivision.
A matter of right, okay. Yeah, I just think it's good neighbors to do something like that.
Yeah, I would just to round out my comments, I would agree with that. I recall we've looked at a lot of landscaping plans and I thought some were for subdivisions, or often when we don't have to go through the public hearing process. But if it fits the bill and we're able to pass it, it's just something to be mindful of for the neighbors. I know in my own neighborhood, when we approved homes that fit with the zoning on Jefferson and Madison, it was discussed but dropped, and these homes look, you know, naked years later, and people are in them. And it's nice for neighborhoods that welcome new homes that fit the regs to at least have, you know, some established trees or just some buffer, rather than seeing a barren house. But that I guess would be going above and beyond if it meets the regs. We adhere to the regs, but I just wanted to mention that for the sake of the neighborhood.
Well, it's part of the subdivision regulations. Street trees are required. I mean, you know, I think there's a street tree required every 50 feet, if memory serves, on the new roadway.
Yeah, I'm referring more against like the rear property lines where these new lots would abut the existing property.
Jim, are you putting underground utilities in?
Yes, that's standard for all subdivisions.
Commissioner Woodowski, I have two questions. And then I'm all set with I'm gonna wrap up here with myself. Is there any wetlands on the property?
No,
Okay. Second, and I know this is a far stretch and I know the applicant's not required to do it, but since he is close proximity to the high school, what are the chances of I know it's a short street. Maybe incorporating some type of sidewalk. I know it's not going to go anywhere, but at some point, maybe we can get that out to Meadow Street at some point coming up Wheeler.
well, that's the question.
That's strictly up
you
to,
know,
that would be strictly up to the applicant. And that's, I mean, obviously he's not bound by anything, but just a suggestion on my part. And that's all I have.
Okay. All right, any other further comments, questions, or concerns from the commission? Okay, so we will bring this up at a future meeting for discussion and any clarification that we need, correct?
I'm not sure why we have to discuss this further. I'm not getting that. What
The
is,
the reason why I would ask the commission to keep it open is we're still waiting for 2 reports from the city engineer and the wetlands officer and for conservation. And so we don't
Should
anticipate
not
anything
take an
crazy.
action until it has all of the reports.
okay,
You know, I think we've had most of the discussion tonight. And then at the next meeting, we can knock this out pretty quickly, assuming everything comes back favorably. So if the commission wouldn't mind just tabling to this next available meeting, I think that would work out well.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to table.
All right, there's a motion to table from Commissioner Parkins,
Second it.
seconded from Commissioner Kelly on a roll call for the motion to table. Made by Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
aye.
Commissioner Radomski,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. So motion to table has passed 6-0. Okay. Next
Thank
on the agenda is the public portion. Mr. Rossetti, is there anybody wishing to address the commission on any item not on the agenda?
There's just a couple other, not a couple, half a dozen public attendees. We'll just let them have a minute to see if any of them would like to raise their hand. I know we still have Patrick O'Leary coming up after this, so Patrick, I'll get to you in just a few seconds, but if anyone else from the public would like to speak up, please raise your hand now. And again, that's not a physical raising of the hand. That's a press the button on your computer screen to please raise your hand, or tablet or whatever device you have.
Yeah, it should be along the bottom.
Correct.
Okay, so I'll ask a second time. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address the commission on any item not on the agenda?
There is no one so far, so I think you're fair to proceed.
Okay, I'll just do it the third time and out. Anyone from the public that wishes to address the commission on any item not on the agenda? Okay. So we'll move on to other business. First thing, letter A, informal consideration, 165 Constitution Boulevard South, PDD for multi-use development on a 5.08 acres that is presently zoned LIP. And I'd just like to remind commissioners that Mr. Rossetti, our administrator, and Attorney Teodoso, the city's corporation counsel, issued a memo on February 5th, which I read at the an earlier meeting where we had our first informal consideration, to confirm that our zoning regulations validate informal considerations for a PDD. It's important to note that a statement in the memo reads, any comments from the commission are not binding or official, and no action will be taken on these items. So again, today, the commission is here to listen to each this informal consideration and to take notes. Who is presenting information for 165 Constitution Boulevard South?
That would be Patrick O'Leary, Madam Chairman. Thank you for having me at your meeting this evening to briefly introduce this project. Good evening to all the commissioners, to Mr. Rossetti, the staff, and Mr. Panico. It's always nice to appear before your commission. The site under consideration here is located on Constitution Boulevard South. The land is owned by Mountain Development. I'm here on their behalf this evening. Would it be possible? There we go. Here's the sketch up on the screen. So we have Mountain Constitution Boulevard, page south along the road. To the left is one Waterview office complex. That's the white roof that you're looking at with the black building added to it. Directly page up to the north from the site here is Pitney Bowes. To the east of the site is vacant land. And you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of the graphic, that is Mountain View, Waterview Street as it comes back around to Constitution Boulevard. And to the east of there is a PDD for a residential community, townhouse form residential community. Further to the east of there is an R3 zone. The site itself that we're looking at has a number of constraints typically associated. It's in the LIP district, Light Industrial Park District, but the site itself has a number of constraints, including as we look from Constitution Boulevard north toward Pitney Bowes, there's about 80 to 90 feet of elevation relief on this site going uphill. In addition to that, have a wetland body, center of the site. It's the dark green center site adjacent to Constitution Boulevard. And there's also a sewer easement that bisects the site coming from Pitney Bowes down through just about the center of the site and out to Constitution Boulevard. The combination of those constraints does make this site challenging from an industrial office perspective to develop. When we're looking at a building, for example, the building just to the left of the page with the white roof, that building is about 52,000 square feet in footprint there. If you tried to place that building on the site here, it would generally be encompassing about 30 to 40 feet of elevation relief across the site. And if you can imagine how significant that type of cut would be in that area, it's very, very significant. Alex has brought up the site itself, showing roughly where the site is here. And you can see the topography that's displayed there. Those are 10-foot contours that are being shown on the screen. So when you go from Constitution Boulevard down, you can see the 210 circle down close to the road. And you go to the upper side of the site, you have 290. So 80, it depends on how you're situated on the site, obviously, exactly the topographic relief. So when we look at a site like this, it becomes very challenging from an light industrial standpoint, office standpoint. We also understand in the given environment today that the demand for office space has certainly been dwindling, particularly with new work from home culture that's being developed across the US, not limited here, is certainly reducing the demand across the board, be it in New England, the Northeast in general, for office space. Mountain Development is a very significant developer. They have a very significant portfolio here in the Northeast. The building that we're looking at to the left, they have probably a half dozen other sites in Connecticut, North Haven, Stratford, Stanford, and other communities. And that's really what they engage in: office, light industrial, and some retail. The issue at hand is the site does not lend itself particularly well to the light industrial office. Demand for both of those uses are down. And so we're looking for alternate means to develop the site and make use of it, to the best use for the community as well as mountain development itself. We're looking at proposing a PDD on the site. There's PDDs surrounding much of the site. Pitney Bowes was a PDD. Immediately to the east of the site, I think it's a PDD. It might be number 29 Constitution Square, I think. And as previously mentioned, I'm sorry, I don't know what that was. So what we are proposing here is residential development, potentially a mixed use development with some office, but we are also sensitive to the commission and to the city as well, in that we understand you have a desire to continue residential development in the downtown area and the redevelopment of the downtown. You do not have a desire to see more sprawling residential development along Bridgeport Avenue. And we clearly understand the goals of the community. And we looked at a site like this and we don't believe this conflicts with desire in any way to continue the redevelopment of the downtown area. This is a different type of development. People who would look at a residential development of this nature are not interested in a more urban downtown setting with the restaurants, things of that nature, and they're interested in getting a little bit outside of the downtown area. We would see this as being a very high-end development, very nicely amenitized, very nice architecture. We have not proceeded down the road to develop any architectural renderings or otherwise at this point, because we're here to see what you may think about the use here, whether or not you perceive it to be appropriate at this location, and other suggestions that you may have. The site plan that you're looking at is very rectangular in nature. It's concept at this point. We're not looking at, it certainly would be conceptualized further, become more curvilinear in nature. One of the things we'd be looking toward doing is, you can see there are two buildings, building 6 and building 2. They're fairly large buildings. Those footprints are about 14,000 square feet. We'd be looking to break those into 2 or 3 buildings. We just quite haven't figured out architecturally or otherwise how we're going to break those buildings up. So we're just showing them from a massing perspective at this time for the 36 units. So there would be the site plan we anticipate would become much more curvilinear in nature, be it for the roadways, the settings of the buildings themselves and the amenities, and also consideration to the office building down on the bottom right-hand corner, and how it interconnects and interacts with the overall site. I hope I kept it short enough. I don't want to run too long. I know everybody would like to get to supper this evening. So with that, if I could turn it back to you, Madam Chair, we completely understand any input the commission may provide this evening, any members or staff, is not binding in any way, shape, or form. And we're just looking to potentially seek input from you to improve a plan prior to coming in before the commission. If the commission feels that this use may be suitable for the site. It's a good transition use between the light industrial Pitney Bowes, the office, the next residential immediately to the east, which is the townhouse development, and then down to the single family homes. So I can see from a transition standpoint, it makes sense from the light industrial office, multifamily, down to the townhouse style development into the single family housing. Seems like a very good transition use for the site. The smaller buildings, these 12-unit buildings work well, fitting with the topography. It can develop something here that's going to be aesthetically pleasing and fit well both with the land and the surrounding office complexes. And would love to turn it back over to you, Madam Chair, and the commission for any comments, suggestions that you may have or input for me.
Yeah, I think the complex you're referring to as being nearby is Morningside Court. You can see them on that
yes.
Screen. That
Rivendell.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think the PDD is actually named Rivendell, if I remember correctly.
Rivendell, yeah. Alex, can you put that back up, please? Thank you. Yeah, Rivendell and Morningside Court are in the neighborhood, but they're definitely, that separation of Waterview Drive makes a big difference. So.
Yeah, the separation is that one lot right there to the, just to the, yeah, that's the lot. Correct, that separates it. And that it has a PDD on it. And I'm not quite sure what is proposed as part of that PDD. I think it may be number 29.
The size of your parcel is the lot that has the 210 elevation. Does it continue down to the other two sections?
I'm not quite sure, Madam Chair, when you ask about the other two sections.
So you have that lot that has 210 on it?
Yes.
The elevation.
Yep, that's part of it. Yes.
Okay. Is it the next two blocks to the right? Is that also part of this parcel?
The next block to the right is part of this parcel.
Yeah.
And then the following two blocks are not part of this parcel. And they're under a PDD already. I think it's PDD 29.
Okay. Well, this just gives us a better sense of how much land you're referring to when it comes to the
approximately about an 11-acre parcel that we're looking at that's that I presented before you this evening.
Oh, 11 acres total. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Jenny?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah. You think we could do a site visit?
Oh, absolutely.
I'd like to see it. I'm not getting so much out of the maps.
Yeah, definitely. Access is along the backside from the parking lot of the building on Waterview Drive, those two buildings. So, but one of the things that I'm concerned about is definitely that 70-foot elevation change.
Yeah.
From the street up to the crest.
Yeah, seeing is believing.
Oh, for sure.
Well, it's when you walk it, and I'd be happy to, I know the land well, I'm happy to walk with you out on the site there. It's definitely 70 feet, so you want to have good shoes to walk out there on the site.
Okay, I'll just ask staff just to advise if it is permitted before an application comes in, because we do have quorums and all that kind of thing we have to be concerned about. So if there is a site visit, we have to be careful how many people go at one particular time.
Yeah, I'll look into that and see what's allowed. I'm not sure if the applicant has to make it a formal application or not, but I'll certainly look into it and let you guys know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chairman Harder.
Go right ahead, Mr. Commissioner Radomski.
All right, the only comment I'm going to make at this time, and then I'm going to reserve the rest for another day, I think, is just a few short months ago, this commission rejected a PDD zone change from an LIP to a PDD up on Bridgeport Ave for housing. I think we need to be consistent with that, and it worked out to our favor that we didn't change it back then, because few short weeks later, a perfect fit moved into that property. I would hate to see us give up some more LIP property zoning for what's essentially nothing more than a PDD with housing on it and apartments and an office building, which this is baffled. Maybe he said that, office is a dying breed here in Northeast New England and pretty much the country, with people staying at home. So I'm not sure why he would propose an office building if he doesn't suspect he may not be able to fill that. And I think it's just thrown in there as a mixed use just to make it so it's not all residential. But again, my point is, I don't like giving up an LIP zone. It worked on Bridgeport Avenue by waiting for something that came along that was going to suit the city of Shelton better than more housing in this. And we're looking at the same basic idea here.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Radomski. All right. Thank you, Mr. O'Leary, for coming and presenting this to us. I'm sure you'll be in touch with staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate your input this evening.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is item B, bond release of soil and erosion control bond for application 1925 Romano Brothers LLC at 103 Meadow Street. Mr. Rossetti?
Yeah, I'll just turn it over to Josh.
Okay, Mr. O'Neill?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so this is just for soil and erosion for the 3 lots on Meadow Street. It was inspected by both our office and the city engineer last week, so everything is in order in terms of releasing the bond.
Very good. Okay, is there a motion to approve the bond release for application 19-25?
Make that motion.
Is that Commissioner Kelly?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and is there a second?
A second.
Second from Commissioner Amato. So on the motion to approve the bond release for application 19-25 made by Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Amato. Do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Amato?
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki?
Aye.
Commissioner Radomski?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay. Motion passes 6-0. Next is is letter C, Zoom meeting review and comments. This is our second Zoom meeting. City Hall has indicated that evening meetings are available. Can take place in evening meetings, but it's entirely up to the commission as to how we will proceed. I know that it's always been in the forefront that we do make our meetings accessible to at a time that is good for the public to participate. So how is everybody looking on this as to should we change, first of all, our meeting time?
Commissioner Radomski?
Go ahead.
This is the first Zoom meeting I've attended for the commission, and I'm going to say that to me, it was much better than the previous style that we were having with the call-ins or whatever it was. To me, I would starting maybe in April, we can maybe go back to our regular meeting time. Assuming City Hall opens, I still like that in-person presence, and I think we should keep both together. So for those that cannot make it or haven't had their inoculations or whatever, they can still have the option to do the Zoom call, to take part in the meeting, and they can also come down to the auditorium to speak in person. I do believe that physical presence is very important to conducting civic duties, because that's what we were voted to do.
Yeah. So that you're suggesting a hybrid.
Yes.
Okay. And how do other commissioners feel?
Commissioner or Chairwoman, Commissioner
Yes.
Tiki.
Go ahead.
I continue to think that we should start meetings a little later. I would be open to even 5 p.m. I just think that it's not appropriate to be meeting during business time when a lot of people work. The 10:30 we did early on in the pandemic was not reasonable for people. 4:30 is better, but I would ask we meet even at 5 o'clock. I'm fine with a hybrid. I think the Zoom operation, this is our second meeting, has worked very well, and it's good that we all see the same information. And again, kudos to staff, as I said last month. I just don't know if the information is getting out to the public about how they can participate. That's a change that we're all experiencing about how to participate in things virtually. I just want to make sure that public knows that they are able to participate. So I'd be open to a hybrid if people are more comfortable meeting in person and feeling like they can share comments there. I talked with Mr. Rossetti about how the information is getting out. It seems like we are including the Zoom information where we can, and would ask that we keep doing that. So I'm happy to do whatever the commission thinks is best, hybrid versus fully virtual, but whatever it is, I just think it's reasonable to start the meetings at 5 o'clock. So working people, whether they're on this commission, in this body, or are tuning in at home, gives them a chance to log on and to be a part of it.
Okay, who else wants to weigh in on this?
So Jenny, we're talking about going back to 7 or 7:30. Is that also an option?
Well, I said, do we change our meeting time? So far, Commissioner Tuckey was very specific about 5 p.m. Commissioner Radomski was just left it as begin in evening meetings in April. So what's your thoughts, Commissioner Amato?
I'm, personally totally flexible as far as time goes. So I'm not feeling very strongly about the timing, but I do, I have a loathing for Zoom meetings, tell you the truth. So if we could do a hybrid, and I'd probably more likely show up in person. If it can't be hybrid, then I think the Zoom certainly working way better than the live streaming telephone meetings. And I wouldn't want anybody to feel like they have to come in person if they're not yet vaccinated. That's for sure.
Go ahead, who's that, Commissioner Kelly?
I would agree with Commissioner Amato.
Okay. Mr. Rossetti, can you just check with Mr. Bednarski as to whether or not if we did have something where some people did attend in person in the auditorium, if there would be laptops or something available? So it's just like what we're doing here. We're all sitting in front of our desktop or laptops.
I've had that discussion. The hybrid system, it's not designed to do that to begin with. So
this is hybrid in still doing Zoom, but doing it instead of some people being in their homes, some people are sitting in the auditorium at City Hall.
I would not be interested in that at all. I mean, if I'm going to be Zooming, I'll do it from here.
Okay.
Yes, I've been snacking through the whole meeting, so
it just makes it difficult because I don't think City Hall has the bandwidth to have that many people on a computer in that room at the same time. You're going to start having problems. And if we go to a hybrid, to do anything other than using Zoom, to me, is not worth it, because it's extremely difficult to see anything that's up on the screen that's projected in that room. It's extremely difficult to hear when you're on Zoom or on calling in what's going on in City Hall. The acoustics in that room and the bandwidth, I just don't think would support it. I personally, I love Zoom. I hate the cold. I hate going out in the cold, especially, on a cold winter night. I like being home. I've been using my lunch hour to attend these meetings. So by 5, 6 o'clock, I'm pretty hungry right now. So I would be in favor of starting it at like 6 o'clock, which at least, give me my lunchtime and give me some time to get home, because we are back in the office a couple of days a week at this point. So I would see starting it at 6 would be a good compromise. I think 7 is a little too late, because especially some of our meetings run so very late at night. So I'm not sure if other people feel that 6 is doable, but that would be my recommendation.
I
I
think,
think that's a good suggestion, I think. I
yeah, we
agree
do
with
have to
that.
recognize the technical aspects of doing something from City Hall.
Yeah,
My concern about the 5 o'clock is, well, that's if a lot of people are getting out of work at that time, how are they going to participate if they're in their car? There's a better chance of them participating at 6 o'clock. They should be home by that time. So who else has any comments on this? I think,
So, Madam Chair, you
Go
had said that City Hall is open later. I don't know where.
yeah, the mayor and I had a discussion, and I had asked if there were any plans on reopening City Hall for evening meetings, and he said they could certainly be utilized during the evening. He would
Okay,
just,
just so you know, Josh and Ken were kicked out because they were 30 minutes late. So that's news to all of us. So
oh, you mean you're not in City Hall, but they were, and they had
Correct.
to leave?
correct. So,
Well, that's
That's-
something that we would have to discuss with administration because,
but I would just second to that. I would just ask all the commissioners. I know times are changing, everything's changing. I can't stress how difficult it is to reserve the auditorium and try and change times and dates
Mhm.
around with 15 other commissions, meetings, et cetera, et cetera. It's not, you can't snap your fingers, and it's frustrating for us. I'm sure it's frustrating for you. But we have the ability, whether it's by Zoom or whatever,
Mhm.
at a consistent time. And I would just ask that we try and stick with it. I know it's been a challenging year, but whether it's 5 or 6, it would be really helpful with us just to, whatever time it is, pick a time, stick with it.
Yep.
We're flexible, as I think we've all seen. Zoom is a great platform, or if it's Microsoft Teams or whatever the heck it is.
Mhm.
But then again, with the hybrid system, as you can probably tell, I'm not a particularly big fan of it. I think the meeting quality is much poorer. I think the audio quality is poor.
Alex, I'm personally off the hybrid
Okay.
idea.
Yeah, remember my explanation of hybrid was some people but
yeah.
using the laptop or to transmit. So
That's-
and that
No.
wouldn't work because we just don't have that kind of capability to with technically with the
Yeah.
bandwidth and all that. So,
Madam Chair, if I could just suggest that Alex check with the Milford Planning and Zoning Department. They are very sophisticated in their electronics, have been for years and years. I've presented in front of them many times. Just kind of check with them to see. I know they do, their meetings have been live on some sort of cable channel for years now. I would just check with them and see what they're doing. Are they planning on, David Sulkis is the administrator over there. Just see, are they planning on are they on Zoom right now? I'm not sure. I haven't been in contact with them for, since the pandemic hurt, but yeah. So I don't think it would be harmful to reach out and see what other folks are doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good
So,
idea.
Idea. All right, so
just
Chairwoman,
go ahead.
I just want to make a comment about the time. I agree with any time after 5. I recall such pushback last year when trying to move it from 10:30, but I welcome the later times. It sounds like we've come very far in these last couple of months with, I'm hearing City Hall perhaps being open later, and now that we have this tech capacity. So I've always been wanting to meet when people are available in the evening. So whether that's 5 or 6, as Commissioner Parkins recommended, I'm fine with whatever, as long as it wasn't during the daytime at a 10:30 or a 4:30.
Okay. Mr. Rossetti, have any of the applicants or anybody representing an applicant ever make any comments to you as to what doesn't work for them?
So I'll say this. For the past 2 meetings, there have been a few people who have asked for help. Prior, a week to 10 days before any meeting where there's going to be an applicant, I reach out to them and ask if they need any help, if they need a demo. We go through share screening with them, calling in with them. We've done it a couple of times. They say thank you. They got it to work. So I think, that's worked out well. I think you saw it today. I think the meeting went pretty smoothly.
Okay.
And then, it's, as I don't know if you guys were watching, the attendees portion of it, but at one point they were up to, so you guys are panelists and are able to speak with the amount of people that were just watching and listening into the meeting. At one point, there was 25 attendees today. Had this been hybrid or in person, I don't think there would have been that number. And I don't know if you were on the, there's a Connecticut bar seminar on Saturday for municipal land use agencies. And they commented on the fact that they were shocked at how many more participants there were because of the ease of access of having this Zoom webinar. And they said typically they might get, I don't know, it's like 50 to 100 people up in Hartford, and they said that they had hundreds attending this webinar. So
that land use
ease of
one was
access.
held 2 years ago at Wesleyan. Charlie and I both attended. It's an auditorium at Wesleyan full. So there were a lot, but they were very pleased that Saturday's attendees were much more than they had, I think, expected. So, but on the list, if you look under participants, there are 9 panelists and 2 attendees identified as AR and HS Rappaport. So, but all right, Alex, we haven't, you haven't prepared an agenda for our next meeting, which is a week from tomorrow, right?
Not,
Okay,
it's
so
not finalized, but yes, it will be sent out tomorrow. So then, based off of what I'm hearing, I would say that we can start the meeting at 6 o'clock. Seems like
Okay.
most commissioners would like it later.
Mhm.
And personally, I like the Zoom. I think it works fluid. I can't stand the hybrid, so
yeah,
I would say we continue with the Zoom. Once everyone is cleared up and we're allowed to meet in person, then I think we can go back to that. But
okay,
I think that's a safe way to proceed, and seems to be working well.
okay.
And the
Does
6
anybody have any-
PM, yes, the 6 PM is for both the second Tuesday and the fourth Wednesday.
Yes, we'll continue with that time. I will talk with the city clerks. I don't know how this will work, but if I can change the rest of the regular meeting times from our registered 4:30 to 6 o'clock, or if the commission's gonna have to take action on that.
That changes it to a special meeting, I bet.
Yeah, so that's kind of tricky because that means all of the regular meetings for the rest of our year are gonna have to be special meetings, so.
Yeah,
we'll have
like
to
we
look
just
into that.
finished a year doing.
So,
So, but have we really had any problems with having them all categorized as special meetings once we had to?
no, it just makes it, if there's anything last minute that comes up, like one of these
Yeah.
little sign applications or anything like that, we can't add
Can't
it
do
to a
it.
meeting, so.
Yep. Okay.
I have no issue keeping it at 4:30 at this point, until the next election or whatever you guys do, but
But
it was
even
just a
if we
suggestion I threw out there.
If we do it in person at some point, and we do it at a later time, then it does go into that special meeting category anyways. So we're gonna do it, let's do it. Okay.
Hey, Jim, just one thing. Hey, Alex, it's Commissioner Wodanski. Can you do me a favor? Can you send me the agenda via email? Because it's sometimes easier just to click the link from the email than have to go dig to the website for the city of Shelton. And I'm traveling a lot now, so it's easier just to hit it from.
Yeah, I asked staff to take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so is there any objections? A week from tomorrow, we do 6 PM, all Zoom.
Commissioner,
Go ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
I won't be here next Wednesday. I will not
Okay.
be at the meeting,
Yeah, so no matter what time it started, you wouldn't be.
no
able to-
matter what time it is.
Okay. And then Commissioner Laskos, are you there?
He's not.
Okay, all right. All right, so next week, which is that the 17th?
St. Patty's Day.
That's right. Okay. All right, can we move on then? Are we pretty much all set with this now? The entire meeting format? Okay, I have just comments next from the chair and the subcommittee chair. I just wanted to share with everybody that SEDC executive committee held their monthly meeting this morning. An update was given on the cleanup of the Star Pin site, close to 3,000 tons of material. is expected to be removed by the end of the month, and soil sampling will be completed by the end of April. And the SEDC will then learn what has to be addressed for any environmental cleanup. The second thing that I have is, I know I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, if you hadn't already been aware of it, this year's General Assembly session includes several proposals which are designed to basically eliminate home rule and circumvent local zoning laws, putting into place statewide zoning laws. There are proposed bills where the language includes granting as of right buildings regarding of what it would do to the look, feel, and character of local community. No requirement for public hearings, which disregards charters in towns, also ordinances. There's a prohibition in some that to consider traffic impacts, except to reduce parking and require pedestrian, cyclist, transit, rider facilities. There's no consideration to of a municipality's capacity to respond to fire emergencies, meaning does the department have appropriate ladder trucks and an adequate water supply for larger buildings? There's a proposed tax on homes with an assessed value of over $300,000 or a market value of over $430,000. There's also language to allow duplexes in single family zones. Also, the property tax growth would be capped to no more than 2% annually. There's elimination of local control over multifamily housing. And finally, there's accessory dwelling units by right in residential zones of 20,000 square feet or more in the main structure or as a detached structure. There are some bills with positive proposals, creation of new workforce housing programs in opportunity zones, loans for building reuse. There's also a study to determine how to increase housing options so employees can live where they work. But I wanted to go on the record that I do not agree with one size fits all zoning, because who knows better about our city, its residents, our school system, our roads, our unique traits such as wetlands than members of its elected boards and commissions. Who knows better on how not to overburden our city's infrastructure and the potential for higher property taxes and diminished services than our elected boards and commissions? Who decided that the local boards and commissions suddenly were not good enough, and why? And why would we trust others to care more about our city than we do ourselves? What Connecticut needs is a better public policy that promotes a vibrant economy, bringing jobs, revenues, and additional funding for education and better opportunities that are so badly needed in our state. I feel that we must maintain our decision rights over local land use and zoning in our towns and cities, and to trust ourselves and our neighbors to continue to exercise local integrity. So I did testify in front of two public hearings at the state level, and I'd like to propose that our commission pass a resolution at our next meeting to support home rule, and I plan to share that particular specific resolution with you in the coming days. So those are my two chair comments. Next up, subcommittee chairs. Commissioner Amato, do you have anything from the zoning?
No, I don't.
Okay, Commissioner Kelly, how about downtown subcommittee?
No, not at this time.
Okay, staff comments, Mr. Rossetti? No comment? What happened to Mr. Rossetti?
No
He
comment.
left us.
Hello, no comment.
Here he is. Okay. Okay, so Mr. O'Neill had to leave, Mr. Nappy had to leave. Mr. Panico, do you have any comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Commissioner Wodomski,
What's the matter, Commissioner Radomski?
just backing up to that thing you were just talking about. I'm in agreement with that. Is there any chance we can invite the two state reps and the state senator maybe to speak to us, to give us a little more enlightenment on what those bills are exactly proposing and why they were proposed?
Sure. I don't see why we can't reach out.
Just to get a little bit more information on it.
Yep, okay. We will do so.
I'm sorry for the interruption.
No, not at all.
If we could do that, can it not be next Wednesday, the following Wednesday?
Yeah, I think we have to check with their schedule because they're in
Yeah,
town.
okay. I don't know if you have to approve the proposal now for what you want to do or the following week, but I do agree with it. There's, not all sizes fit all. And we know our town better than anyone else.
As other planning and zoning commissions, I'm sure do as well.
This is being driven by that. What's the name of that group, Jenny, that's driving this?
I put a couple mapped around, to tell you the truth. So.
Desegregate CT is the biggest.
That's the one, Alex, that you mentioned before, desegregate CT, so.
You can find a lot of information on that through their website.
Okay. All right, so we're getting down to the end. Item F, minutes for approval, February 17th, special meeting. Does anybody have any comments or changes to the February 17th minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of February 17th.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the February 17th minutes from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Commissioner Kelly. On roll call, Commissioner Motto.
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki.
Aye.
Commissioner Radomski.
I have not had a chance to read them, so I'm abstain.
Okay. Commissioner Parkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. The motion has passed by a vote of 5-0-1. There's a notation on the agenda. I'm sure that you've seen that the minutes of February 24th, 2021 will be available for review on the website, and it'll be on an upcoming agenda for approval. And so please review them so that you'll be ready to comment if necessary. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner Parkins is made the motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Kelly, roll call. Commissioner Parkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
Commissioner Radomski.
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki.
Aye.
Commissioner Motto.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion to adjourn has passed 6-0. And the meeting to adjourn is adjourned as of 7:05 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good evening, everyone.
You too now. Bye-bye.